We got another Bodog session going. I was playing for a bit without recording, but found my play was starting to get a bit sloppy, so I think that for the first few times that I've heard in pure Bodog sessions, I'll be doing commentary. I found it really helpful to do commentary while I was playing. It kept me in check when I was making decisions. Also forced me to take my time when I was doing it. I'm doing my fair share of flatting on the button with the original limper in here. I could be convinced that flatting is the best play to let the fish in behind. But when overcalls can just happen, probably more value in just putting in the 3-bet. This guy is a mark. Any snap cold call the 3-bet. I think I can see some suited broadways, some ace queen, some ace jack, and low to mid pocket pairs. Since I'm against the fish, I don't really want to bet fold this hand, nor do I see much immediate point to just betting the flop now. I don't really want to follow up on turn either with this particular hand, because at that point I'm trying to target pairs to fold. It is unfortunate on that turn that a bunch of his ace queen get there, but once he checks, that can be discounted quite a bit. I'm very torn about whether I want to start betting turn to follow up river, and I kind of think that's necessary to target the 8s, 9s, 10s region. I am very uncertain if he will actually fold those hands. I'm going to take the lower variance option. This feels like it could go either way. Between bet turn jam river or just try and take my hand to showdown. He's been doing this mid betting in previous pots as well. Nice when they choose the size I can never, ever, ever fold to with the 10 high. This table is actually amazing. Got 53-27. Well, guy that just cold called 10-9 suited in the small blind. Is this ace-6 a 3-bet? Not sure. One of the few suited aces that doesn't make it in there. I got 60 guy who's 690. I got this guy's 2013. I suppose I can change the color code because he's not being too wide, but he double barreled no equity in an earlier hand. I legit want to look at the monkey charts for facing min raises, button versus big blind. I always used to defend this. And I'm going to call. But I'll admit that my theory is a bit rusty here. I'd want to bet all my flush draws here for large sizing. I think if I'm betting this, I'm just going a bit too crazy with my bluffs, which could be okay. But I'm going to save this for a delayed bet or a delay till river line. The deuce I will fire. Nice to remove pocket deuces. I'm just going to pick a size that corresponds with king X quite well. And I actually think pot corresponds quite well. Don't feel like playing heads up right now, so I'll drop this game and see if I can find a better one. Or just find one with seats filled. I'd imagine this is a full, but I just want to double check. Oh, damn it. Yeah, always fold. Limp pots, yay. I didn't see a point to betting this flop when protection really isn't that big a concern. And when this guy pots it, he hasn't been. This is either a peel flop and then fold turn or just fold now. With the gutter, I'm still going to peel. With weaker jacks, I would just fold. Odd line, but I'm not going to really do anything about it with my hand here. So like turn club draws make sense. But I got plenty of hands to address that. Just anytime I have showdown value, or anytime I have the king X portion of my range, pretty easy call. And he's also leading into two people, so that just also looks a bit stronger. Ace-9 against someone that is not opening all that much yet. But I only have 15 hands. This one is a full 26%, according to Munker. Oh, what the heck? I got unposted. That's not good. I prefer to have a diamond here, but I'm not going to fold quite yet. Nine's definitely going to be live most of the time. 3 is definitely clean. Used to leave the spot a lot, but I really don't have a ton of 5s in my range. I do have more 5s than him, so there's something to be said there. I'm just going to raise small with ace 9. I am torn between turning this hand into a bluff to get better ace highs to fold. I think I'm just going to use my missed diamond draws as my bluffs here. I could be convinced that this is low enough to turn my hand into a bluff. I'm going to check call 1 with the jack 8. Probably check fold to future action. I'm against a button flat on an ace-high board. It's going to be, well, this dude's fish. And one that has shown a propensity to be passive with equity. He was passive with that 10-9 earlier. It's a 41-22. Against a smaller raise, I would call. Small blind's just the position to play threes. This 52-24, I don't have any reason to try and bluff him yet, or, you know, go crazy bluffing him. Though on this river, I'm just going to try and target pocket pairs and king highs that don't contain a diamond. I don't think I need to size larger to target that region. This board is a decent board for me. It is nice that the turn cards that improve my equity don't really coordinate with his own straight draws or just his own light peels. On the flop, I would be very cautious on, like, you know, a 9, a jack with most of my bluffs. And then I also have a hand that on a 4, 6, or a spade, easy to huck in, turn c-bet. It responded to the first video that I made, and one of the notes that he gave me was to be a bit more concise with the notes, because all you really need is one key point to remember the hand that's significant. So I'm going to remember, you know, when he called tens in the small blind, what hand that was and how that's relevant. When he cold called the 3-bet with 10-9 suited, what hand that was and how that's relevant. And he is right for these anonymous sites where we're not going to be able to save hands. You just need to remember the hands that are in session. Whereas on China, I find I need to be a bit more detailed, because I do run into the same guys. And I would like to know exactly how they played certain hands. What happened here? Was this just all in pre? So, in other words, standard. Just want to check that the big blind, did he cold call the 3-bet? Yeah, he cold called the 3-bet. Which is fine. Not the greatest board for me with my particular hand. I'd be doing a bunch of checking here, and I'm going to check this hand. 10-9 suited. This is going to be ace high a lot, but there's just so many better hands to barrel here. And then when the king rolls off, I have a lot of kings that want to bet here, and I think he has a lot more ace high than king high. So we are going to bluff. Expect ace high to fold quite a lot. King never to fold, but that's fine. Gonna check sixes here. Getting a great price to play a suited ace with a bunch of fish in the pot. I can't resist. This it could be a squeeze exploitively, but more regs in the pot, I would, and also do a larger raise size. I think the squeeze is more attractive. Yeah, the sixes, check folding is definitely the play once I face this action. This board is kind of interesting when it's multi-way. I'd imagine that I want to do a decent amount of checking. The ace isn't the greatest card. They could certainly have all better aces. Well, not all better aces, but the preflop raiser certainly can. Then the other guys can have the ace jacks, the ace nines. Some king jack. Getting this price, I'm not folding. Facing a pot-sized bet with the king high flush draw. I am going to peel one. I think this hand can get funky on 10 and jack rivers when the turn checks through. I thought briefly about leading, but I thought leading looked so strong. And he picked a really small bet, and there's the possibility of it being a size that is targeting just withdraws. So getting that price, I'm not folding. And he also made a really thin value bet. Woof. I was lacking some time bank with the King 6 there. Given that he's a fish, I just went with what was a standard sizing. Although I was tempted to scale down even more. Because it's very tough to establish bluffs. Because when it looks like when I call this texture, it's very, very tough for me to have any bluff, really. And then I guess 10-7 suited, but that's just so limited. So I actually would have liked to see myself pick half pot there. I think that he has Queen X or even a set a fair amount. Although I don't think a set is folding 3/4. Three-quarters targets the hands that were really strong on flop and then just don't like that diamond turn. Your Jack 10s, your Queen 9 suiteds, your pocket 9s, your pocket 8s. Half pot would target the more marginal hands, like Ace Queen, King Queen, Queen Jack, Queen 10. I think I would have preferred half pot. It's just too easy to look at this board and say, I have no bluffs, even for a fish. Got a little China action going on here, too. Don't believe this is an open. Oh, it is. How about that? Board is disconnected enough that I'm still going to throw in a quarter, despite being against what are 3 fish. I think getting all the offsuit broadways and poor ace highs to fold is pretty good. Also keeps my options open for the turn. At this table, I should make a note to be a bit tighter. People are just slinging him money left and right on this table. Before I do that, just double check. Oh, no, really? I am very surprised, but okay. mean, I'm happy, given that he hasn't played too many hands in the sample so far, so I'm okay being on the tighter side. I think it's a trivial call with my hand. Largest bet, he's raising out of the gun, so just call. Also note, I think he's just been potting it when he's had good hands, but I'd have to flash back to really find it. I have the choice between check call and check raise. I'd be enough blessed with this particular flush draw. Oh shit. I did not mean to do that, but it worked. I meant to click call. I swear I meant to click call, guys. That's funny. Min raised here. Squeeze the ace 10. I'm going to size up with the sixes here. I want to discourage. Overcard to backdoor flush draw from calling. Limp caller shouldn't have two bigger pairs. He shouldn't have like the larger pairs either. With the club, I'm going to continue here against half pot, or what looks like half pot. I think I actually have the best hand most of the time here with the sixes. Although I'll make mine with the eights first. I'm probably just going to fold. Although, when I'm facing half pot, I only need to see ace king here some amount of the time. I think it's going to be ace king or queens. I'm actually going to click call. It did suck that fives got there, but I expected the lower pocket, specifically fours, deuces, and his own share of ace high to be tempted to click call against my line. I'm curious what this guy had. Just going to bet small with the kings. I could size up here. But I'm stacking a queen almost no matter what, and this board is very, very dry. I'd rather allow him to do some air. Deal with the lower pocket pairs. They're drawing very thin. I also want to make note on the top left corner to increase raise size, just given how loose this table is. And half pot will set up for a 60% river shove. protection is just not a thing on this board. And this guy looks on the loser side, so I am going to up my 3-bet size. Okay, so given that how loose people are playing, and I'm not really looking to blast in pots, I'm just going to fold the king 10 off because it's one of my closer opens. I'm unsure if the 6-7 suited makes the 3-bet region or not. Does not. Normal bet small spot, but against a what looks like recreational player. I think that his pocket pairs and ace-x are inelastic to calling. So much rather just build pot. I expect this guy to have ace high a lot. I also expect him not to do a lot of folding on the turn. So I'm just going to go for the 2/3-ish bet. And I should have sized up a little higher just to set for a river jam. King 8 against a small size, I will call. I've been neglecting this table because it keeps going into the background with Munker. So Munker will be driven over here. I'm almost positive that actually, yeah, it's not even close. It's just a 3-bet. Up the size a little bit because of how deep we are. Could stab here, but, well, I say could as in it's tempting to stab anytime people check to me. But on a monotone board, with my particular hand, I'd much rather stab my gutters. And it is nice to realize equity. It's hard to represent all that much here. Like, my hand is just not a great one for this board. I could be convinced that I just need to, or that bluffing a fuck ton is fine. But I have a bunch of worse airy hands to blast with this, and I think it's just, there's not much I could represent here once I get to the river here. So I'm just going to just check and probably lose to ace high, which is fine. I did make a note to up my raise size, but I think it's only crucial when I have the top end of my opens. This feels like China. It really does. I'm going to bet a quarter here. What the size allows me to do is when people just call, really weakens the possible hands that they can have once they get to the turn. Makes bluffing easier on later streets. When I face a raise, it's easier to call. And I think it just gives me better options as opposed to checking or betting big. When he does raise, there's going to be some combo draws in there. There's going to be some sets. Possibly something like ace 10. I think 10x is minimal. And I think my turn call is going to look pretty damn strong. Pretty sure ace 4 is a fold. For the most part, it is. Doesn't make its way into the 4-bet occasionally. Yeah, but not going to this time. This I know is a fold. My ace 8 and ace 9 of clubs would be in an interesting spot. This one I'm just going to pitch. I think it's quite the number of club combos I'm actually ahead of now. Kind of shrivel up now that 9-8, 8-7 are paired. And once it goes bet call and then he bets 2/3 on turn. I think it becomes more if we continue with either ace high flush draws with a gutter or ace high flush draws 2 overs. Queen deuce, I imagine that's defend. Yep, no suited queen or suited jack for that matter. Folds, that's good news. It's unfortunate to face the stack to pot ratio because I don't think 7-6 can peel with this little money behind. The queen deuce, I am just gonna put in a small overbet. There's some rivers that become tricky to value bet, and I think pot or the size is fine. It's pretty tricky it's very, very difficult for him to have a better hand. And I'm going to go with a similar size. Very easy to put me on stuff like king 10, ace 9. I think he has a jack of bunch that can just click call. I'm actually not sure king 9 off is an open or not. Most of the time it is. I'm only at this China game because of this Alex character. If he doesn't reload, I'm just going to leave. Something I'm going to make a very conscious effort on from here on out, and I have been doing this for the past couple of days too. What's made me successful ever since I started playing professionally was always being very game selective and always looking to start new games when my tables just didn't have enough action. And I did that the entire time I was on 88. I did that the entire time I was on Bodog, and it led to a lot lower variance and a lot less stress. But then when the China games came around, everyone was in the mindset of these games are amazing. There's no such thing as a bad table. Easy 4-bet with the kings. And actually, Jack 10 off, I expected to go multi-way vast majority of the time, so I'm going to play tight. It might be overcompensating a bit, but actually, I need to pay attention to this table a bit more to find out if I actually want to be barreling a bunch against these guys. And if I want to get involved a lot, or if I literally just want to play super tight, make hands get paid that game. So I got 5 or 6 China games off to the side here, and I'm kind of just railing them to see if any whales or big fish pop on. There's so many regs that I know aren't that good. They're playing, you know, your 38 style. But your edge is only going to be so great against those types of players because all they're doing is not raising enough pre. It's not like they're spewing a ton of post. This is very similar to the previous hand I had. Given this price, I'm going to peel the suited ace. When people check out those boards, I expect it to be majority ace highs. You know, your ace kings, your ace jacks. Some weaker queen X hands that I'm going to be chopping against vast majority of the time. You know, depending on the river. Ace 3, I'm just not going to do anything about it yet. I'm very happy when they check these boards when I had no intention of continuing the hand. I do beat ace king, but I think that if he was checking in order to try and, you know, get to showdown, the same probably rings true in the turn. I also don't like the ace size in this big, so I'm just going to fold. What are against? I'm likely against two fish, but offsuit. My justification is that these two guys are recreational players, so I will get involved with the King 10 offsuit. Against regs, I would always fold. Ship the giant nickels with jacks. And lol if he folds. After putting in almost 1/3 of his stack. Lol. Gonna bet big with the King 10. I think I had the best hand vast majority of the time. It really wants protection. Not a good river. Happy that he checks. Happy about that river now. Actually, I'm not even sure if that was a trap. I think he just saw the 3 flush and was scared. Well, don't mind if I do. No notes on the small blind ladder, although he has heaps. Imagine he's going to show up with some loaded mid pocket pairs, some suit connectors. Doing his decent bit of 3-betting. But I don't really expect many aces to be in there. King 5 suited appeal. It is not. Don't think I have many flushes on this turn. Yeah, and actually they say I'm just gonna size up, build a pot with a nut flush draw. This actually kind of feels a bit close between betting and checking. I am gonna check. Part of me did want to deny equity against his like pocket sixes with a club type hands, but I think I'd much rather induce bets from like the was gonna say Queen Jack of Spades, but those should like bet turn or like 3-bet pre most of the time. It does size up as well, which I don't like. I think I'm just gonna fold. This might be not correct, but I basically need to see rando bluffs. It's really tough because I want him to have, you know, backdoor spade broadways or, you know, offsuit broadways of a club. But over the sample, he is 3-betting 10%, so I expect most of those, if not all those, to 3-bet pre. Actually, yeah, this one I'm actually pretty confused about. I'm very uncertain about what I should do in the river. It's hard to really establish many reasonable hands in his range, just given his play style. Yeah, stick to a third. Was thinking, do I want to go a quarter? Though he is doing a decent bit of flatting here. He's gonna have some broadways. Gonna have some low to mid pocket pairs. I'm actually gonna go for a check raise here. If he's flatting hands that contain 10, he's also going to be flatting stuff like just other Broadway hands. King, queen, king, jack, queen, jack. Then they're going to stab quite a lot on that board. Also going to protection bet pocket pairs quite a bit. Would have been a bit happier to have, you know, ace 3, or sorry, ace deuce or ace 4 on that board, but I don't want to be that selective. So 5x gets the folds. And I'm going to have to wrap this up soon because I have an eye doctor appointment in about a half hour. Takes a little bit to bike ride there. Plus, I always underestimate how long I take to actually get ready to go out. Wish I could stay around longer for this top left table. This top left table is amazing. It's a king 5 of clubs to defend. I'm actually really not sure. Folding quite a bit. Nope. Neither of them are fish either. God, we are so tight. We are so tight. 82%. Back in the day, I would have peeled this. No second thought. Also, when I jammed on this China table, I didn't realize that the small blind was in the pot. Bluffing doesn't make a lot of sense on this card. I think check raise makes a lot more sense. I think he is going to bluff this card a decent amount. And also just, value bet his ace-x too. This could also just be a bet small. Could just be a bet small on the river to target his lower pocket pairs, but I don't think those bet hat pawn the flop. And I'm going to check raise this hand. Just one of the worst hands I'm going to show up with here, and I definitely want to have check raising range there. And my instincts were just saying use bottom of range as a bluff if I'm trying to come up with blocker reasons for hand selection. I think his most obvious call is ace-jack. So if there was a way to remove... And that makes jack-10. Actually, nah. I don't want jack-10 or queen-jack. Having the jack is nice. I don't want a queen or a 10 in my hand. So I would specifically want... And this ace-queen, I'm just going to fold to his action. Probably my suited jacks are best. Like low suited jacks that I can peel both pre and post, which isn't many of them. He did min raise though, so I'm gonna have a bit more suited jacks than I normally would. My hand does become nice because I'm not removing any of the hands that I'm trying to get him to bet fold, nor do I really think I remove any of his potential bluffs, like 10-9, that decide to check back, queen-9. So I think the check raise is fine with my particular hand. So this guy has shown a propensity to telegraph the type of hand that he has. I do have good turn barreling cards, but the problem is that aside from clubs, and I guess a king is okay, but the rest of them coordinate with his range like pretty well. So I'd much rather just check fold, or potentially check raise, but I run into the same problem. I don't want to check raise his hand class, so I'm fine with check folding. Eight seven's not an open out of the gun, is it? Used to be back in the day, but hell no. Definitely not at this table either. Oh, high jam. Ace is interesting. He's going to have his share of ace highs, but he's also going to have his pocket pairs. I'd say fives to tens. Well, fives to eights. I definitely want to size up if I am going to bet, because betting range is going to be, I would say, ace queen plus, and it really wants to protect this hand. This is most likely going to be a bet turn to give up river, but I will make up my mind depending on the river. And we get min raised. That's gross. Well, he's laying me such good a price. I am getting 4-1, but I think that the most likely hands that I see here are going to be ace x of diamonds and pocket nines that I'm just drawing dead to. I don't think this is ever pure bluffed. I don't think this is ever protection raised with like ace jack. So I am going to fold. Annoying, but it's fine. Going to quarter this board. And be very happy to take it down. Going to hit on post. It does felt like there's been a lack of four betting going on. When there aren't fish in the pot. When there have been, people have been like getting in like, okay, cool. Guy on my left decided to leave when I had to leave at some point. That's a TV run out. What the heck happened there? Just a single raise pot. Buddy just decided queen X of hearts, get it in. And we are going to wrap it up here, folks.